Hi, friend.
Hi, friend. Are you ready
Ready for what?
to level up?
Okay, girl, let's get started. Hi, friends. Welcome to another episode of Level Up with Raman and Alysha.
Hi, everyone. On today's episode, we'll be talking about going from the normal 9 to 5 to going 24/7 hours in a day.
Yeah, and we're talking about like work, guys, making that money,
Yeah,
and hustling. Level up. That's what it's all about.
100%. I was telling Alicia that I feel like everybody I see these days, everyone has a side hustle, like whether it's, a big business or a smaller side business, but everybody normally these days does have a side hustle. I'm seeing it more and more common.
Yeah, like you know what? Especially our generation, Robin and I feel like, if you're anywhere from your 25 to 30s, we're hearing a lot more people doing things on the side to make like, more money. And it's either because people want to feed that passion and do things they love, or it's because our 9 to 5s are not paying us enough.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that's the main thing. Like, as I see, quotes about wealthy people, about millionaires, and, all the stuff that we aspire to be, one of the main common things that I see is, you cannot, oh my God, I had a tongue twister there. You can't have only one source of income. Like, you can't become a millionaire with only one source of income. And nowadays, honestly, Alicia, with the cost of living and how expensive things are, how expensive even homes are when we've been, talking about this a lot. When you think about it, can you really afford anything these days with just one income? Unless honestly, unless that one income pays you like 200 grand. And even that, like it takes time and years to get to that level of like seniority in a company for you to make that sort of money. But other than that, like, I don't know, can you even afford an average life, Felicia, these days with like a regular income? I feel like you can't.
No, and right now, if for those of you who may not know, Roman and I are in Ontario, and we're going through the most craziest housing market, and we've talked about this on many podcasts. That is just such a crazy time right now. So, 30, like most of us, are getting into buying our first homes. Okay, not condo, homes. It's going to be very difficult in the next upcoming years if this year and last year wasn't already difficult. Homes are now affordable if you want to live in like the GTA or cities close to the GTA. You're looking at literally a million plus. Let alone if you're working a job that you've only been in maybe 10 years tops. 10 to I feel like 6 to 10 years. Most people have been in their career if you're in your 30s, okay? Because you came out of school, if you did more education or you did your master's or anything like that, you're probably been in your job experience between the 6 and 10 year mark. Now, to afford $1 million home, you need to be at least making a combined income with your partner or by yourself of over 150 to 200K in order to even afford $1 million mortgage. So that's the other issue. How the hell do you afford $1 million mortgage? Yeah, your down payment is going to go down, but you're buying homes. We're not saying you're getting a home for a mil. You're getting homes close to 1.2, 1.3, 1.4. And that's even for a single detached home that's with one garage, or even townhouses in some parts of the city are going at 1.2 to 1.3. So it's
Yeah.
kind of like, how the hell do you even get a mortgage for that? Like it's like our economy setting our generation up to fail completely. So then I feel like people are doing these side jobs to make more cash flow, to be able to put down more on a down payment so they can get the mortgage.
Yeah, for a down payment or just to even live the lifestyle that we want to live. Like, even look at us. Like, we want to travel, we want to, buy nice furniture. You can't just have a house and like not have anything inside of it.
Yeah.
You need to be able to like even food. Like, I never realized how high in price because I think it like so gradually happened throughout the years that we didn't notice. Like, but even fast food, when
Oh
you
my
think
God.
about, I think I bought like a meal and it was like $15. And I was like, since when did a meal turn out to be $15? Like, didn't I go for the fast food because I thought it would be cheap? But no, even food is not cheap anymore. Groceries are not cheap. And apart from having a house, you have so many other expenses. And as we're saying, like, unless your income at work is sufficiently high, but if you're like us and you're in your 30s, it's like, there's only so many years you can keep saving for and not doing anything with it. But, one income and just kind of having it sit in your bank account isn't really going to get you too far. Um, and I think and you did mention this as well, like, it's also about like the whole like passion thing, like, that's why people pursue a side career as well, which we'll get into as well. um yeah, Alicia, I feel like our generation wants more to life. And it's so funny because, like, I feel like our parents probably, or at least my parents, when we were even, okay, not even our parents, even me, when I think about it, when we were younger, like, how did you view 30-year-olds? I thought, like, after having a full time job for X amount of years, like, oh, yeah, of course I'm going to be able to afford everything. Like, I'm going to be able to afford a house you know, at 30 years old, and I'm going to be able to like get married and live the life I want and kind of have like this household life that our parents kind of put in our head growing up. And that's how I feel like everybody saw things. Everyone saw things growing up as 9 to 5 as children. Like that was what was embedded into our brains from school, from our parents. It was always like, you go to school, you then go to college or university, and then you find a job in your career, and that's it. Like 9 to 5, you make good money and you come home to your family and you kind of just go on living life like that. And I feel like for most of my life, and for I'm sure a lot of us, that's what we perceived our future to be, right? We were like, oh, yeah, this is the sequence of events and it happens. And now we're 30-year-olds and we're just like, shit, like, I need more money. Like I need more money. I need more time. Um, Life is not the way that we were expecting it to be when we were younger. A lot of people in our age group are still struggling like financially and still trying to, especially after COVID and people losing jobs and stuff, still trying to find secure jobs. And I feel like that's why I'm seeing a lot of people have their side hustle because they're just like, I need the cash money. Like, I need money on the side. Like, if your 9 to 5 job pays for kind of your expenses and everything else, then they need their like little side hustle to pay for maybe their lifestyle, their vacations, or like, and a lot of these side hustles are cash jobs, right? So it's just like extra money in the pocket when we're thinking about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more with you. It's so true that it comes from, our home upbringing, right? And it takes us back to sociology class and how,
Oh
the
my
nuclear
God, sociology class.
and like, like the nuclear family is mom, dad, breadwinner, homemaker, or
Yeah.
one vice versa, two moms, two dads, whatever it may be, right? It's still the same thing. And
Mhm.
then, you buy a home, you have your kids, and life is perfect. No, I feel like our generation is breaking a lot of those norms. And one, it's really great, or two, it could be a downfall. And
Mhm.
that's the thing. Like, it's not about the family aspect per se, but without having the family, it kind of makes you wonder why no one's getting married earlier, why no one is settling down quicker and having kids. And it's usually because of the fact that people always want to be financially secure before they can even settle down and commit to someone, right? So it comes down to
Mhm.
being able to even afford a home, a wedding, that lifestyle, right? And then children are a huge expense as well. So I think it has a lot to do with that too, where it's making people think, well, like, either I just don't have kids or I only have the one child and I can do common law for like so $0, or I do have the wedding. And I think that's kind of where our generation's at. So it could be good or bad. We could either we're coming from the baby boomers, right? So like the baby boomers who had all these babies,
Mhm.
and like now we're slowing down and maybe only having one or two, because our like parents generations, they come from parents who had 7 or 6 siblings, and
Yeah.
then went down to our parents siblings, which are like maybe 3 or 4 or 5 max. And then that even seems a lot to like us, where it's normally 2 to 3
Yeah.
kids, right?
That's
And now
true.
I feel like we're going to go into one or two or
Oh my God.
none.
And then there will be more people. Like, I feel like in the future, it might become more normal to not have kids.
Yeah, I think so too. I think you're absolutely right, because A, it's a cost factor. B, with the pandemic, I've heard a lot of people my age say, I don't know if I want to have a kid. I don't know if I want to bring my kid into a world of like things like the pandemic or things of like these 14-year-olds, 10-year-olds on TikTok and just kind
Hmm.
of like what's being perceived. And, you can only shelter and teach your child so much, but majority of the time they spend their time at school. And
Yeah.
I recently watched something. This is a little off topic, but I want to talk about this because
Okay, go for it.
it may not be about the side hustle, but it kind of has something to do with people having kids. And I feel like, okay, no, we'll save it for something else. It
No,
doesn't
no,
make sense
no, say
though.
it, say it, say it, say it, say it.
Okay, so I watched this movie and this movie with my family. We watched it last weekend. I forget what it's called, Dear Henry Evans, I think. And
No idea. On Netflix?
not on Netflix. No, it's a new movie. I watched it on the IPTV box. And
Okay.
basically Rotten Tomatoes didn't give it a fair chance, I feel. But when I watched it, I was like, okay. So the thing is about this movie is that, it's about this child, like boy in high school. And I've told you I hated high school.
Yeah.
I never liked high school. I don't even know why high school's in place. I think it's such a traumatizing event for some people like myself because there's so many expectations to be a certain way and be popular, be friends with people. And it's just
Hmm.
like you set a lot of kids up to fail that are different and don't
Yeah.
want to be that way and like, sitting in the cafeteria alone, going to your freaking locker. It's just like it's
Yeah.
all these things that you set up a child to fail. And this kid, his mom's a single mother, income home, and he's depressed. So he's saying like he can't make friends. It's not easy for him. He's very intelligent, but just can't make friends and doesn't have the income or the household money to like get into a good school because his mom works as a nurse and she's overworked. So then he falls into this situation, and I don't want to ruin the whole story, but the point is it's about suicide, and it comes
Oh.
down into depression, and then like there's a musical factor to it, but the music is his way of expressing himself of how to get his feelings out, because when he gets confronted sometimes he stutters, and the only way
Hmm.
he knows how to express himself is through music. It's an amazing movie in the sense
Okay, okay.
it brings a lot of awareness. And,
Yeah.
you only hope that people will learn from this and be kinder to each other and accept that we're all fucking different, and that's the
Hmm.
best way to be is different. When you go into your careers or you create a business, it's all about being different and unique that stands out to get that customer base
Yeah.
and to get promoted and to move up. It's not being the same as the five other people in the room. That's what makes
Yeah.
you normal. Being normal is great, but it's not extraordinary, right? And
Yeah.
we seem to address extraordinary as promotions and businesses and things like that. And I think we need to celebrate those extraordinary people more just because they're not ordinary. And I know that people might say, well, I'm ordinary and how can you say that? But being ordinary means you already have a fair playing field. It's the
Yeah.
extraordinary people who don't. So whether they're in an office setting and they don't know how to be social, or if they're creating a business and they're scared, or someone may not like what they're trying to do. I think that's where we need to be a lot kinder to each other and just be like, okay, let's make this special.
Yeah, that was honestly so amazingly said, 100%. And definitely adding that everyone to the movie watch list. Feel
Yeah.
like it's going to be one of those movies that I'm just going to cry.
I think we
If,
should start a highlight on our Instagram of all the movies and books we want people to read and watch.
oh my God, that's such a good idea. Okay, let's do that.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll give you like a warning, like, we'll make you cry.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
But you're absolutely right. And I do think like these people that like our generation, I don't want to say like we're ordinary, like the people that, stick to the 9 to 5 and they go to work and whatever the case is. But yeah, these people are putting in that extra time. They're going the extra mile to start their side hustle, to start their business. And the reason why this podcast is going from 9 to 5 to 24/7 is because, a lot of people have this perception that starting a business is just like, oh yeah, you do it on the weekends or whatever. It's when you're off work anyways. So, whatever the case is, but you're actually working a lot more, especially for people who are working full time and then they have a side hustle too. They're literally going 9 to 5 and then from like 5 to whatever time in the night to do their side hustle. And then even for the people, and I see this TikTok a lot on TikTok. I was going to say on Instagram, on TikTok these days. And it's like, oh, when you thought you were leaving your 9 to 5, but now you're working 24/7. And it's true, like that's the life of an entrepreneur. When even you are leaving your 9 to 5, you're actually going to be working most likely even more now, which is okay because I do think it's and this is kind of circling back to what Alicia mentioned at the beginning of the podcast, is that one of the reasons why people start a side hustle these days is because obviously affordability. We just can't afford the average. I don't want to even say average like household. I feel like you need to have. I feel like it's below average income. Is that the right wording? Below average
I think,
income household.
I think we're not even middle class. Like
Yeah,
us,
it's like
our
not even middle.
generation,
Like yeah.
yeah, is not even middle class.
Yeah, like you have to, like if you just have one job and that's it, it's just your 9 to 5 and it's not that like, it's an average salary, then yeah, you're almost going to be below like the middle class income because it just, you just can't afford it. But the other thing that we wanted to talk about why people do start a side hustle and why it's important is because sometimes it's to start your passion. Like most of us chose our careers. I don't know about you, but I chose mine not even knowing what HR was.
Yeah,
And
not a
like
freaking clue.
I don't understand how like you're usually like 17 years old when you're trying to choose what program you want to do the next year. And I just never understood how you can expect a 17-year-old. I wouldn't even trust a 17-year-old with a toaster. Like, how can you trust a 17-year-old to make a like such
A
a
huge
big life
decision.
decision. And I think that's why obviously people change their programs. A lot of people don't even end up pursuing the schooling that they went for, which is like 4 years of tuition and waste of time and education like gone to garbage, right? So we see so many of these people that don't even end up pursuing. And I don't understand how 17-year-olds are expected to like figure out what the hell they want to do for the rest of their life. So a lot of us, yeah, we do kind of just end up in their career that we went to school for because, that's the one that's going to get us the full-time job immediately out of school. But like, do you really like it? Like
Yeah,
once you get into the working field, it's like, ooh, accounting sounds fun, but like, fuck, once you're an accountant, like, is it fun? Are you having a good time? Probably not. Like you're looking at damn numbers unless you really do like your job. But it's hard. It's hard to get up. And that's why like it's hard for people. We talk about this all the time. When you hate your job, it's gonna suck to get up and go to work every morning. And as easy as it is for all these like motivational quotes to be like, then you should turn your career into something you love, then you won't hate waking up for it. I see that one all the time. um
yeah,
like super corny quote, but it's hard. Like no, I can't just quit my salary and consistency because I don't really hate my job either, but it's just not something like I want to do forever. You can't just wake up and be like, yeah, I'm gonna quit and I'm gonna you know just
yeah.
start something else. So that's why
It's
people also do start a side hustle.
I 100% agree with you. And, just to go back to your point about like, how are we supposed to choose something at the age of 17? Two things. One thing is the government doesn't even trust us to make legal decisions until we're 18. Okay, so let's take that in. But yeah, we're here to supposed to decide and spend thousands and thousands of dollars on education on something we may not even pursue. I know so many people who have degrees that they're not even pursuing their career in. Like example, my
Mhm.
freaking husband. Like I know
So
people with
many.
sociology degrees, like I know so many people like that. And it just, it's just crazy. The second thing to that is, can you imagine life and our new life going forward of the pandemic? I truly believe the pandemic, like this COVID thing is here to stay. Maybe not the pandemic itself, but the COVID thing is here to stay.
Yeah,
We
for
were
sure.
like when we were in school, we were able to job shadow, we were able to reach out and go job shadow people's careers if you found a good enough person who was willing to connect with you, whether it be in the
Mhm.
legal world, HR world, doctor assistants, dental assistants, whatever, everyone always had that opportunity. If you wanted to reach out, you could go ahead and job shadow, or you could go to college and do co-op placement. My organization is the only one I feel like that are out there still doing like in-person co-op sessions because we're essential and we're healthcare line. But like
Mhm.
there's a lot of students I've talked to that were like, oh, my last co-placement didn't even let us in. I'm so happy you're letting me come into the actual place. Because what the
Mm.
hell are they supposed to learn from online? Like they're already doing school online and now you want them to learn placement online. Like it's kind of ridiculous. And so, can you imagine how much harder it's going to be for someone who has to make that decision in their university or college life that, oh, what the fuck am I going to major in when I
Yeah.
can't even go be there in person and see what it's like day to day?
Yeah. And I feel like a lot of people just end up choosing something that either like their parents, and in our brown community, this happens a lot, like become a doctor, become a lawyer, become a teacher, just like there's expectations, right? So a lot of people I feel like end up doing, and I know people who ended up pursuing a career because of family pressure to be like a doctor and family pressure to be a lawyer. And guess what? They like I know the one with the lawyer. She after 4 years of killing herself, not having a social life, trying to keep up with grades, this that, didn't end up pursuing it.
See,
And I
that's
was
the
like, great.
worst.
You literally lost your peace of mind for like 4 years straight.
That is the worst. And I
Yeah.
my parents, one thing I got to condone to them, they never did give us expectations, but that doesn't mean I didn't receive it from my grandparents. But I
Oh,
feel,
yeah.
but my parents did say if you're going to choose to be a truck driver or a garbage truck driver, like you're making 60 grand, you may have a great pension because you're working for the government, but that's the lifestyle you're aiming to have, right? And like they're like, or you can go to school and do this and this, and you can have this type of lifestyle. So they explained the difference between the two. They said, we don't care what you do, the decision's up to you. We won't be living your life, it's you living your life. So,
Hmm.
what kind of lifestyle do you want? Do you want a simple life, or are you going to want the things we provided and you want to grow from here, right? And like me and my brother are a little too bougie sometimes, but him more so than me. I was okay driving a fucking Honda at his age. No, this kid went and bought himself a brand new Lexus. But like, it's just really interesting to like kind of hear from your parents as opposed
Hmm.
to one of my friend's siblings. I feel like we're very nurtured, and he's not too far from my brother's age, but there's a huge difference between the two in maturity. So, my brother had decided I would like to be like, suits. I would like to be like people who dress in suits because of the show. He watched
Yeah.
that while we did. And he's like, that's what I want to look like every day. I want to look like I got $1 million in my pocket and I want to look good. And I understand I have to work. And my brother has many side hustles as well. And he's only 21. So he gets
Mhm.
it. Like he's in full time school, part time job, and he has two other side hustles. So he just as well understands that it's not easy to make the dollar and you can't just be given it, but you got to work your butt off to get it. And he's all about that. And even I know his girlfriend is too. Like she's very, hardworking, put herself through a lot of tutoring and stuff like that. And she wants to be a doctor. And this wasn't from her parents, this is her personal choice. Like, I
Yeah.
want to be an amazing doctor, and I'm going to do it and I will put myself through school and get it done. And she is. So it's interesting to see that, but then also see kids that are a little older going, no, I should be handed things. Like, why
Yeah.
can't you give me this much? Or why am I not being paid more? But you're not willing to put in the work. Or like, you were raised with that expectation of having to complete something because you were
Yeah.
just told to do it. And I think that's maybe the problem in the parenting factor is that, and we will probably be very different than that, Raman, is that
Hmm.
just telling your child to complete this because you'll make money, I don't think that means shit all to us when we're like fucking 16, 17.
Yeah.
We aren't
100%.
we're not paying bills. Money means jack shit. It just means I get to go to the movies and I get to buy food. That's all it means to us at 17, 16. No one's
Yeah.
thinking about mortgage, bills, home. No one's understanding that. And I think that's something we'd have to teach our kids from the get-go. Now, A lot of people shut down TikTok, and I think TikTok is so great because as someone who wants to become a mother one day, I would love. I am following a lot of moms already on Instagram and TikTok, and can I tell you, there's more than one way to teach your child how to understand money right from the get go of age 1. And
Yeah.
I'm so impressed with the different ways. So, one example that I always refer to that I love over the years is from John Legend and Christy Teigen. Um, they, with their first daughter, Luna, I think is her name, they
Mhm.
made a menu book. So they took a picture of like her macaroni and chicken fingers, and then like fish sticks and fries, and like spaghetti and meatballs, like her favorite meals. And they put it in kind of like when you would go to a restaurant, you flip through the pages. So they
Yeah.
made her that. And then they gave her like toy money.
Oh,
And they
nice.
yeah, so they gave her like they would give her $1 toy money or $5 play money every time she did a chore or something right on this little calendar. And then when it was dinner time or lunchtime, they'd be like, okay, open up your menu, sit at the table. What would you like? And she would
Oh,
choose out of one of those. And then the money values at the bottom, whether there was 5 or 10 or $4, whatever, right? And they go, okay, how much is it going to be? And she'd have to look at the money, and then she'd be like $4 or $5. And one time she only had, I think, like $3. And they're like, okay, so how much more money do you need in order to buy this meal?
that's so
And
cute. Honestly, they're the cutest parents.
right. And like I was so impressed because there's so many different ways to start teaching your kids the value of money. It's not just kicking them out at age 15, 16, go get a job. It's
Yeah.
teaching them more than that.
I think that's why our education system gets so much hate and criticism because, we hear it today. And I think hopefully in the future, I do see the school curriculum changing in the future just because of how much criticism there is on this. That, like, okay, you're sending our kids to school, even us when we went to school. When did I fucking use algebra in my life? Ever? Never. I have never used algebra literally in my life. Like, if I need to do math, I will use a calculator. But they teach all these things that, you don't use in your everyday life, but they don't teach you how to do taxes, how to save up for a house. Like, how much do you need to, save up in order to own this? Like, how to know property value, how to do all these things that we are going to need to do in our everyday realistic life. Like, teach us something and teach our kids something that they're actually going to need to know to live every day financially well, and plan their finance ahead of time. I think financial planning from high school is essential, so kids at that age do understand money, like what you're saying, from a young age, but also starting from high school, starting to understand finances, starting to understand bills, starting to understand, like, okay, like, what do I, and exactly what you said, starting to envision, like, what do you want from your future, and like, what do you need to do today to kind of get there. And our school curriculum does not teach any of that, so it's stupid because, yeah, then you have like a bunch of 30-year-olds that are like, shit, um I wish I started something sooner, because now I know you mentioned your brother, and I don't know if you noticed this, but the side hustles, I'm seeing so many young kids starting the side hustles. It's like so many people, kids I know that, like, on TikTok or in person in real life, they're so young and they're talking about starting a business. They're starting to talk about starting a side hustle. Remember, I told you about this girl who's like starting a decor business? Like, it's my friend's, I don't know, somebody, right? Somebody's kid, through somebody, and she's talking to me, and I'm like, yeah, girl, you need any advice? I got you. Like, don't worry if you need help. And then I'm like, how old are you? And
Yeah,
she's like, I'm 19. And I was like, what?
I know. And
So,
you were saying your mind wasn't even there in 19, mine either.
like, at 19 now, she's in school. So she's still doing like her whatever degree that she's pursuing. She's starting a decor business, and then she's starting like the customized stuff, like, whatever, customized sweater and stuff like that. Um, so she's starting that. And I'm like, you're 19 years old. And you know what? I think about it, like, she's starting something she's saying her friend is starting something. And then I know like Anissa's niece, like she at like 14 was like, I want to start like this card business. Whether, they decide to pursue it in the long run or not, like I'm starting to see a lot of younger kids and in their generation starting businesses from early on. So like I feel like our next pool of entrepreneurs is going to be such a younger generation than it is now, because from us we see like our age or older or some younger, but like in the next couple of years I feel like we're going to have competition that's going to be much younger than us, and there's going to be a very large pool of them, because now, like, who's to say that these kids that are starting their side hustles at such a younger age, that they're not going to pursue the regular corporate life, like they want to pursue the entrepreneur life, or they might decide to pursue their side hustle in like full-time basis.
You know,
So
it's
yeah,
kind
go
of
ahead.
scary though, because as you're saying that, it worries me. What if we're not going to have enough doctors or nurses or dental hygienists or, like those kind of careers because they're so
You know what,
intimidating?
I'm worried about the doctors. I still
Yeah.
think we'll have a lot of doctors and lawyers and like teachers, because there's too many teachers. We don't have enough jobs for teachers. Doctors, I feel like, because even if they don't come from like Canada, we will have a lot of like international pool of candidates for like doctors and lawyers and stuff too. So I think that's why like those careers might still have, and because lawyers is very like kind of entrepreneurial as well. Like a lot of lawyers want to open up their own firm, they want to open up their own consulting businesses and stuff like that. I feel like we will still have a lot of those. But what I think we will decrease in workers is um, like I would say like restaurant workers or like factory workers, or something a bit more kind of like manual, that's going to be automated mainly probably with like technology, like like jobs that probably are going to lose to technology.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with that too. It's going to be very interesting to see what kind of outcomes from this generation. And, entrepreneurship is great, but there's downfalls. Everyone makes it seem so pretty and glamorous on social media. There's a lot of like hard work that goes into it.
Mm,
And I think a lot of people don't realize that. And we could say that for another topic, because I do think that's a whole topic on its own.
yeah,
Ramen startup, our startup with our organization, seeing my husband being an entrepreneurship, it's not easy. It's not easy to give up a 9 to 5 corporate job and go to something that's not full secure, and it's quite scary. So kudos to those who can, but remember, guys, those that might be thinking to pursue that way, make sure you're able to give 110% in it. That's something you have to be brutally honest with yourself before you can even stop being a side hustle and make that a full-time hustle, right?
yeah,
So definitely make sure you keep that in mind. As glamorous as it is, I do feel like our up and coming generation is all about that quick dollar and how to get to it.
mhm,
But remember, security, right? Security is what's going to pay the bills and have the lifestyle you want to have, a family and grow into homes, right? And that's a huge
yeah.
thing as well. So don't think about just today and like next year. Think about the next 5 to 10 years when it comes to building your career foundation.
Yeah. And I think in terms of like a side business, even for those of you who um are not ready to leave your 9 to 5, and you do want to still start a side hustle and think like, okay, well, will I have time for this? Like, am I going to be able to do this with my full-time job? A, I'm going to say this like with 110% seriousness and confidence. You need to be passionate about your side business. Like, you
Yeah.
need to love it. If you don't love it, you're not going to be able to do it. Like, you already have your 9 to 5 job that, feels like a drag, and you feel like you have to wake up and, just fucking go to work every morning and work for somebody else. If you're going to do something for yourself and you are the boss, like, make sure it's something that you actually genuinely like doing and you have a passion for it. I feel like um, a lot of people think that you can just like okay, it's easy to say, like how you said, like everybody's out to make the quick dollar, right? So it's easy to be like, even you and I have even kind of like had chats about this. So Alicia and I are like always brainstorming. So even we've talked about ideas and something, and I've like told Alicia, like, I'm just not into it. And we'll have actually have another podcast where we talk about, stuff that we've started and maybe like lost interest in. But sometimes you'll just be like, okay, there's good money here. Like, there's really good money, but will you like doing it? So I think then it comes to like, okay, well, are you chasing the money or are you starting the side business because you really like doing it? And I think that's where the differentiation is going to come when you start your side business. I think, like, if you don't like what you're doing and you're not passionate for it, you will most likely fail in it. And maybe you won't, and that's fucking great. But it's just that I feel like you already have a 9 to 5. And then if you do something that, even if it makes you money, but it's a drag and you don't like it and you're not enjoying it and it's not your passion and it doesn't bring out any creative or fun or excitement inside of you, then you're going to continue to be dreadful and not enjoy it. And I feel like when I personally think about side business, I think about passion, right? You think
Yeah.
about like, okay, you like doing what you're doing. You never think about a side business and be like, oh yeah, that sounds shitty. Like, you
Yeah.
know? Like I feel like to some extent, like you have to like doing it. And just like with decor and event planning, like we like doing event planning and we like doing people's weddings and it makes us happy and it brings us joy. And that's why doing it actually makes it like easier to do versus, and we'll talk about it another day, but Alicia and I like wanted to start photo booth, and I think we looked at the money side of it, but we didn't think like, are we going to enjoy doing this? And you will have times like that, and I feel like it's okay to start a side business and then not pursue it after if you're not enjoying it.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. It's okay to say, not that you failed, this just isn't for me, but
Mhm.
don't do that until you've tried and you know for sure, you know what, A, this is not going to bring me revenue. B, doesn't make me happy. Not failing. There's a huge difference between knowing the like honest truth of this is not cut out for me and failing.
Yeah. And the beauty thing about having a side business when you do have a 9 to 5 is that you still have your secure 9 to 5. Your side business should just be fulfilling your passion. And if it's not, then just stop. Like you can always
Exactly.
stop and start something else, and I think that's what people don't realize. Like okay, oh my God. Okay. So literally just today, I saw this chick. I can't remember her like Instagram name now, but she used to be like a clothing designer or whatever. Like she used to sell clothes basically out of her house. And I guess, COVID kind of came around, business went down, blah, blah, blah. And I just saw someone post that she started like a clinic where people do like lip injections and stuff.
Oh
Whatever, like a
yeah.
cosmetic clinic, whatever,
Oh my
right?
God, I wanted to talk to you about her.
Yeah, 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 yeah. You saw that
I
too.
came across her page this week and I was like, oh my God, I need to talk to
Yeah.
Raman.
Okay, so I saw that this morning and then I was like, okay, well, did she start her like then I tried to find her like clothing
It's
page, which I couldn't
gone.
find. It's gone.
I
So
did
then
the
I was
same
like,
thing.
your best friends when
Yeah.
you creep the same. So yeah, so then I tried to look for her, like, cause that's what I knew her as, like her, she sold
Yeah.
outfits. And then I'm like, and then, I thought about it and I'm like, well, business, a lot has changed during COVID. COVID, people thought maybe it would be a couple of months, okay, 1 year max, but clearly not. As you mentioned, it's here to stay. And it has changed some people's business and the way they do things. And I thought it was so great that, like, although she stopped one thing, she started another. And I think that was a great example that, like, it's okay if something's not working out, you can always start something else.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. And like, look at it. It looks like she, was successful in the
There
first
were so
half.
many posts. I was like, when did this happen? How did I not see
I
this?
don't know how we missed this. We completely both missed it. I think it's freaking hilarious. But
Yeah.
yeah, good for her, kudos to
Yeah.
her. She went towards something she obviously wanted more revenue in. And maybe it was probably something more easier for her to do because the other part of like clothing's such a difficult thing, especially during COVID.
It's very like wedding clothing. You need weddings, you need events. There were no events. So who's buying clothing?
Exactly.
Yeah. So, I just feel like that was great. And yeah, like your side business, as we mentioned, just to wrap it up, should be your passion. And, your passion can one day turn into your full time job. And if that happens, like absolutely kudos and great for you. And yeah. And nowadays, I mean, as we mentioned at the beginning of the podcast, like, when we look at like millionaires and successful people and stuff like that, like everybody has a side, like everyone, sorry, not has a side hustle. Everyone has more than one stream of income. Like you don't become a millionaire by just having one income, unfortunately. You can try to like invest it in like whatever the banks and stuff tell you, but obviously that's not going to give you a high return at the end of the year. So, a lot of people, whether you're investing in stocks and crypto, starting a business, investing in property, you gotta have like that second or third income if you really want to like make the good money.
Exactly. I couldn't agree more. I hope this was helpful to you and brought some insight kind of on what's going on with these younger youths out there.
They're gonna be
But
rich, man. They're gonna be rich, and we're gonna cry about it.
we are. We're going to be like, shit, I wish we were that smart. But that's okay. It's never too late to start something. Don't let this discourage you. Get rolling because we posted a post recently and I couldn't agree with it more. If you start today, think about your 2 year self and how much you'll have accomplished with the idea you want to start today with. So definitely think of that when you're thinking of starting. Um, Thank you so much for tuning in and listening. If you're not already following us, please do on Instagram at Level Up with Raman and Alysha. And if you have any concerns or any topic choices or anything like that that you'd like to express, please email us at ramanandalysha@gmail.com.
Thank you for listening, everyone. Have a great day and stay
Bye.
motivated as always.
Yes. Bye.
Bye.